don't do one-night stands. At least, I didn't, until the night my best friend dragged me to that underground jazz club in Itaewon, and I locked eyes with a man who looked at me like he could read every forbidden thought I'd ever had. His name was John, or at least that's what he told me between the second and third glass of wine. Korean, devastatingly handsome, with the kind of smile that promised trouble and delivered on every word. We didn't talk much. We didn't need to. What we did need was a hotel room, immediately. Now morning light is slicing through unfamiliar curtains. My head is pounding with equal parts regret and satisfaction, and the man who turned my body into an instrument last night is gone. I sit up slowly, the silk sheets pooling around my waist. My midnight blue dress, the one I'd bought on impulse and never had the courage to wear until last night, is draped over a chair like evidence at a crime scene. My heels are scattered across the floor like I'd kicked them off in a hurry. Which I had. The room is expensive. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Seoul's skyline, minimalist furniture that probably costs more than my monthly rent, and a bathroom with a rainfall shower I vaguely remember using around 3 a.m. when John had suggested we save water. I press my fingers to my temples, trying to piece together how I went from just one drink to waking up alone in what appears to be a 5-star hotel suite. That's when I see it. On the nightstand, catching the morning light, a watch. Not just any watch, a Patek Philippe, the kind that costs more than a car, more than several cars. The steel gleams against the dark wood, impossibly elegant, impossibly expensive. And beneath it, a note. My heart does something strange as I reach for the paper. The handwriting is sharp, confident, almost architectural in its precision. Round 2 when you return it. You know where to find me. J. I read it 3 times, then a 4th. You know where to find me. But I don't. I don't know anything about him except his first name, the way he tastes, and the fact that he has a tattoo on his left ribcage that I traced with my tongue, while he whispered things in Korean that made my entire body flush. I pick up the watch. It's heavy, substantial, real. The second hand ticks steadily, almost mockingly. On the back, there's an engraving I hadn't noticed before. Time reveals all truths. Cryptic much, I mutter to the empty room. My phone buzzes from somewhere in the bedsheets. I fish it out to find 17 messages from my best friend Kira. Where are you? Did you leave with that guy? Jay and I swear to God. Okay, I'm not even mad, I'm impressed. Call me when you're alive. I type back, alive, barely, will explain later. Her response is immediate, DTILS, now. I glance at the watch again, at the note. Something about this feels orchestrated, too perfect. Men don't just leave 6-figure watches behind after one night of incredible sex. Men don't leave notes like this unless they're playing a game. And I've never been good at walking away from a mystery. The hotel receptionist's smile is professionally blank when I approach the desk 20 minutes later, now dressed and attempting to look like I hadn't just had the best sex of my life in one of their suites. Excuse me, I need to ask about the guest in room 1804. Her expression doesn't change. I'm sorry, ma'am, we can't disclose guest information. I expected this. I slide the watch across the marble counter. He left this behind. I'd like to return it. Now her eyes widen slightly. She knows this watch, knows what it's worth. Let me check. She types something into her computer, frowns, types again. That room was booked through a corporate account, Hanseong Enterprises, but I'm afraid I can't. Hanseong Enterprises, I interrupt. Yes, ma'am, it's a... I know what it is. Everyone in Seoul knows Hanseong. They own half the city's real estate, have their hands in everything from tech to entertainment. They're old money, powerful money, the kind of family that makes headlines when they sneeze. The receptionist's professional mask slips for just a second, revealing curiosity. Would you like me to contact the company regarding the lost item? No, I say quickly, pulling the watch back. No, that's fine, thank you. I leave before she can ask more questions, my mind racing. John works for Hanseong. Or worse, is he part of the Hanseong family? The pieces don't fit. He was too casual, too normal. We'd met in a jazz club, not some exclusive VIP lounge. He'd laughed at my jokes, hadn't mentioned anything about corporate dynasties or family empires. But that watch, that note, you know where to find me. Did I? I spend the next 2 days trying to convince myself to forget about it, to drop the watch off at Hanseong's main office with a generic note and walk away, to treat it like what it was, a one-night stand with an expiration date that had already passed. But every time I try, I remember the way John looked at me in that club, not like I was another conquest or a temporary distraction, like he saw something in me that even I didn't know was there. And that note, round 2. Like we'd started something that wasn't finished. On the 3rd day, I break. I'm sitting in my apartment, the watch on my coffee table like a ticking time bomb, when Kira shows up with wine and Chinese takeout. Okay, spill, she demands, kicking off her shoes. You've been weird since that night, weirder than usual post-hookup weird. I show her the watch, the note. She whistles low. Damn, girl, he left you a Patek Philippe. That's not a breadcrumb, that's the whole damn bakery. It's manipulation, I counter. It's a game. So play it. Kira grabs the watch, examining it. What's the worst that could happen? You return it, have amazing sex again, move on with your life. What if he's crazy? What if this is how it starts, with romantic gestures and expensive watches, and ends with me locked in someone's basement? Kira rolls her eyes. You've been watching too many true crime documentaries. This is a hot guy who wants to see you again. That's literally it. But it's not. I can feel it. There's something more here, something underneath the surface that I can't quite grasp. The hotel said the room was booked through Hanseong Enterprises. I say quietly. Kira's chopsticks freeze halfway to her mouth. Hanseong, like Hanseong. That's the one. She sets down her food, suddenly serious. Jen, what if he's actually someone, like someone important? Then why approach me in a jazz club? Why not mention it? Maybe he liked that you didn't know. Maybe he's tired of people treating him like a walking bank account. She pauses. Or maybe he's married. My stomach drops. I hadn't considered that. The note said I know where to find him. Do you? I think back to that night. The conversations between kisses, the lazy pillow talk before round 3. He'd mentioned a place, not an office or a house, but somewhere specific. What was it? Then it hits me. The rooftop garden, I breathe. At Buckshan. He said something about going there to think, about it being the only quiet place in Seoul. Kira grins. See, you do know where to find him. I pick up the watch, feel its weight in my palm. Time reveals all truths. This is insane, I say. Probably, Kira agrees. But you're going to do it anyway, aren't you? I look at her, at the watch, at the note that's been living rent-free in my head for 3 days. Yeah, I admit, I really am. The next evening, I find myself climbing the steps to Buckshan Hanok village as the sun sets over Seoul. The traditional houses glow in the golden light, tourists snapping photos, while locals go about their evening routines. I'm wearing cream linen pants and a silk black camisole, casual but intentional. The watch is in my purse, heavy with possibility. The rooftop garden is tucked behind a traditional hanok that's been converted into a tea house. Most tourists don't know about it. I almost walk past it twice before I find the narrow entrance. My heart is pounding as I climb the final set of stairs. The garden is small, intimate. Potted plants and stone pathways, a single bench overlooking the city. And standing there, his back to me, is John. He's wearing a simple white button-down and dark slacks, hands in his pockets as he stares out at Seoul's sprawling skyline. Even from behind, he's unfairly beautiful. I must make a sound because he turns. And smiles. You came, he says like he knew I would, like there was never any doubt. I pull the watch from my purse, hold it up. You left something. Did I? He doesn't move to take it. Or did I leave it on purpose? The air between us feels electric, charged with everything unsaid. John doesn't move from his spot by the railing, just watches me with those dark eyes that seem to see straight through my carefully constructed walls 3 nights ago. On purpose, I repeat, taking a step closer. You left a watch worth more than most people's annual salary. On purpose. Yes. Why? He tilts his head slightly, considering. Because I knew you'd be curious enough to return it, and honest enough not to sell it. You don't know me well enough to know that. Don't I? His smile is slight, knowing. You told me things that night, Jen, between the second and third time, things you probably don't remember. My breath catches. The night is mostly a blur of sensation and heat, but there are gaps, moments lost to wine and desire. What things? That you're afraid of wanting things too much, that you once walked away from a promotion because your boss expected additional services, that you moved to Seoul 2 years ago to escape a life that felt like it was happening to someone else. He takes a step toward me. That you've never let yourself lose control until that night. Heat floods my cheeks. I did tell him those things. In the darkness, wrapped in hotel sheets, with his fingers tracing lazy patterns on my skin, I'd opened up in ways I never do. So this is what? I hold up the watch again, a barrier between us. Some kind of psychological experiment. See if the girl who doesn't do one-night stands will come crawling back. No. He closes the distance between us in 2 strides, and suddenly he's right there, close enough that I can smell his cologne, something expensive and understated. This is me being honest about what I want. And what's that? Round 2. His eyes drop to my lips. 3, 4, as many as you'll give me. My pulse hammers. You could have just asked for my number. I could have. His hand comes up, fingers grazing my jaw so lightly it might be accidental. Except nothing about John feels accidental. But then you would have spent 3 days convincing yourself that night was a fluke, a mistake, something to forget. It was a mistake, I whisper, even as I lean into his touch. Was it? His thumb traces my lower lip. Then why are you here? I don't have an answer. Or rather, I have too many answers, none of them simple. Instead, I press the watch into his chest. Take it back. He covers my hand with his, trapping it against his heartbeat. Keep it. I can't. It was my father's, he interrupts quietly. He gave it to me on my 18th birthday, said time reveals all truths and I should never waste it on things or people that don't matter. The engraving, time reveals all truths. My throat tightens. John, that makes it worse. I can't keep your father's watch. He's dead, he says simply. Has been for 6 years, and I'm asking you to keep it because... He pauses, something vulnerable flickering across his face. Because I want you to have a reason to see me again, even if you decide you hate me. Why would I hate you? His jaw tightens. Because there are things I haven't told you, things that will complicate this. Like the fact that you work for Hanseong Enterprises. He blinks, surprised. You looked into me. The hotel receptionist was chatty. I pull my hand away, needing distance to think. So what is it? Are you married, engaged, in the mafia? A short laugh escapes him. No, none of those things. Then what? He turns back to the view of Seoul, the city lights beginning to twinkle as dusk deepens. When he speaks, his voice is careful, measured. My full name is Hanseong Jonghyun. John is what my friends call me, what my mother called me before she passed. The world tilts slightly. Hanseong Jonghyun, not an employee of Hanseong Enterprises. The Hanseong, heir to one of Korea's most powerful families. I can't finish the sentence. The reason I was at that jazz club, he continues, still not looking at me, is because it's one of the few places I can go without security following me, without someone recognizing me and treating me like a walking stock ticker. Now he turns, and his expression is raw, unguarded. You looked at me like I was just a man. Do you know how rare that is? I should leave. This is too much, too complicated. Men like him don't date women like me. We exist in different stratospheres, different worlds entirely. But I remember the way he touched me that night. Reverent, hungry, real. So the watch, the note, Was that before or after you decided to reveal you're basically Korean royalty? I was always going to tell you, just, not in a hotel room at 3 in the morning. And now? He moves closer again, and this time I don't step back. Now I'm hoping you'll have dinner with me, tomorrow night, somewhere private where we can actually talk. Talk, I echo skeptically. His smile turns wicked, among other things. Despite everything, the shock, the complications, the sheer insanity of this situation, I feel myself melting. This is crazy. Probably. He takes the watch from my hand, then carefully fastens it around my wrist. It's too large, masculine, completely inappropriate. But you came here. You could have donated this to charity, could have left it at my office. Instead, you climbed these steps, wore that outfit that's been driving me insane for the past 10 minutes, and looked at me like you're deciding whether to slap me or kiss me. I haven't decided yet. No, he leans in, lips brushing my ear. Take your time, I'm patient. But his hand on my waist says otherwise. His thumb tracing small circles against my hip says he's anything but patient. I should be smart, careful, all the things I normally am. Instead, I turn my head, catching his lips with mine. The kiss is immediate, desperate. His hand slides into my hair, tilting my head back as he deepens it, and suddenly we're not in a public garden anymore. We're back in that hotel room, all heat and need, and the kind of chemistry that makes rational thought impossible. When we break apart, we're both breathing hard. Dinner, I manage, tomorrow. My place, he says, I'll cook. You cook. I'm full of surprises. He kisses me again, softer this time. Wear something comfortable, and Jen. Yeah. Bring the watch, I like seeing it on you. I don't tell Kira about John's real identity. Not yet. Partly because I'm still processing it myself, and partly because saying it out loud will make it real in a way I'm not ready for. Instead, I spend the next day at work completely distracted, designing marketing campaigns for a skincare brand while my mind replays every moment in that garden. Hanseong Jonghyun. I Google him during my lunch break, which I probably should have done 3 days ago. The images show a different version of John, polished, corporate, always in expensive suits at charity galas and business conferences. There are articles about Hanseong Enterprises' latest acquisitions, speculation about when he'll officially take over as CEO, photos of him with various beautiful women at high society events. None of the women are black. Most aren't even Korean. They're models, actresses, socialites, women who fit into his world in ways I never could. I close my laptop feeling sick. My phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. Address, Hanamdong Platinum Tower, Penthouse 3:07 p.m. The doorman will be expecting you. John. A second text follows immediately. And stop Googling me. Those photos don't tell you anything real. I stare at my phone. How did he? A third text. You get this look when you're overthinking. I saw it last night. I'm guessing you're doing it now. Despite myself, I smile. Maybe I'm having second thoughts, I type back. His response is instant. You're not. See you tonight. The confidence should annoy me. Instead, it sends a thrill down my spine. Platinum Tower is exactly as intimidating as it sounds. All glass and steel, and the kind of security that requires 3 forms of identification before they'll let you past the lobby. The doorman does indeed expect me. He escorts me to a private elevator that requires a key card, then deposits me on the top floor with a polite nod. The elevator opens directly into John's penthouse. I step out into a space that's somehow both luxurious and lived in. Floor-to-ceiling windows showcase Seoul's nightscape, but there are also books scattered on surfaces, a guitar leaning against the wall, framed photos that look personal rather than decorator-chosen. And in the open kitchen, wearing jeans and a simple black t-shirt, is John. He looks up when I enter, and his smile is genuine, warm. You came. You sound surprised. I gave you 12 hours to talk yourself out of it. He sets down the knife he's been using to chop vegetables. I'm glad you didn't. I'm wearing black jeans and an ivory silk blouse, comfortable like he asked, but still presentable. The watch is on my wrist. His eyes catch on it, and something in his expression softens. "So," I say, moving into the kitchen, "you really cook?" "My mother insisted, said no son of hers would grow up helpless." He returns to the vegetables. "I'm making bibimbap, simple, but I make a good one." I watch him work, the casual competence of his movements. This feels surreal, being here, in his space, watching one of Korea's most eligible bachelors prepare dinner like it's the most natural thing in the world. "You're starring," he says without looking up. "I'm processing." "Process out loud. I want to know what you're thinking." "I'm thinking," I say carefully, "that this doesn't make sense. You could have anyone. Why pursue someone you met in a jazz club? Why leave your father's watch with a stranger?" He sets down the knife, turns to face me fully. "Because for the first time in years I felt like myself. Not Hanseong Jonghyun, not the heir, not the face of a company. Just John, a man attracted to a woman who challenged him, intrigued him, made him laugh." He takes a step toward me. "You asked me why that night, remember?" I do. Breathless against hotel pillows, his body still pressed against mine, I'd whispered, "Why me?" And he'd answered, "Because you're the first person in years who doesn't want something from me." "I still don't want anything from you," I say now. "I know," he closes the distance between us. "That's why I'm asking you to stay." His hands find my waist, and I let him pull me close. "For dinner?" I ask. "For a start." He kisses me, and this time it's slow, deliberate. Not the frantic passion of our first night, but something deeper, more intentional. When we break apart, I'm dizzy with want. "Dinner first," he murmurs against my lips. "Then I'll show you the rest of the penthouse." "Just a tour." His smile is pure sin. "That depends on how much you like bibimbap." Dinner is perfect. The food, the conversation, the way he looks at me across the table like I'm the only thing that matters in his carefully constructed world. We talk about everything. His childhood, my move to Seoul, his complicated relationship with his father's legacy, my dreams of starting my own marketing firm someday. "Why don't you?" he asks, refilling my wine glass. "Money, connections, fear," I shrug. "The usual reasons people don't chase their dreams." "What if you had the money and connections?" I give him a look. "Are you offering to bankroll my business? Because I meant what I said. I don't want anything from you." "I know, which is exactly why I'm offering." He leans back in his chair. "I have more money than I could spend in 3 lifetimes, Jen, and I invest in things, in people I believe in." "You barely know me." "Then let me get to know you better." His foot finds mine under the table. "Starting tonight." The promise in his voice makes my skin flush. "You're dangerous," I say softly. "So are you." He stands, offering his hand. "Come here." I take it, let him pull me up and into his arms. "I need to tell you something," he says, suddenly serious. My heart skips. "Okay." "There will be complications. My family, the media, people who won't understand or won't approve." His hands frame my face. "But I want this, I want you, and I'm willing to fight for it if you are." It's too much, too fast. We barely know each other beyond physical chemistry and one night of confessions. But when I look into his eyes, I see something that terrifies me. Possibility. "I don't know if I can be what you need," I admit. "You already are." He kisses my forehead. "Now stop overthinking and let me show you the bedroom." I laugh, some of the tension breaking. Smooth. I have my moments. He leads me down a hallway, past rooms I barely register, until we reach a master suite that's all dark wood and soft lighting. And that's when I see it. On his dresser, a photo of John with an older couple, his parents, presumably. But next to it, face down as if recently placed that way, is another frame. "John," I say slowly, "what's that?" He follows my gaze, and something shudders in his expression. "That's the complication I mentioned." He picks up the frame, hesitates, then hands it to me. I turn it over, and my blood runs cold. It's a photo of John with a woman. Beautiful, elegant, smiling at the camera with her hand on his chest. The kind of photo that speaks of intimacy, of history. But that's not what makes my heart stop. It's the date stamp in the corner, 3 months ago. And the engagement, ring visible on her finger. The photograph feels heavy in my hands, heavier than John's father's watch, heavier than all the promises he just made about fighting for us. Explain, I say, my voice surprisingly steady. Now. John runs a hand through his hair, and for the first time since I've known him, he looks uncertain, vulnerable. Her name is Minjai. We were engaged. Were. I focus on that word like a lifeline. The engagement ended 4 months ago. He takes the frame from me, sets it back on the dresser face down. I should have thrown this away. I meant to, Just what? He moves to the window, puts distance between us. Against Seoul's glittering skyline, he looks like a figure from a different world, which, I suppose, he is. My father arranged our engagement before he died, John says quietly. Minjai comes from a family that's allied with ours. Good bloodlines, proper connections. The kind of match that makes sense on paper. But not in reality. She's a good person, we were friends even. He turns back to me. But there was no passion, no spark. We went through the motions because it's what was expected, what my father wanted. I cross my arms, needing the barrier. So what changed 4 months ago? I did. His laugh is bitter. I woke up one day and realized I was about to marry someone I didn't love, building a life that felt like a beautifully decorated prison. So I ended it. How did she take it? Better than I deserved. She admitted she felt the same way, that we were both just going through the motions. He moves closer but doesn't touch me. The families were disappointed but not surprised. Turns out everyone could see we weren't right for each other. Everyone except us. I want to believe him. God, I want to believe him so badly it scares me. Why keep the photo? I ask. Honestly, I forgot it was there. He gestures around the penthouse. I moved here after the engagement ended, needed a fresh start away from the family estate. I packed in a hurry, brought boxes I haven't even opened yet. That photo was in one of them. It's plausible, but there's something else nagging at me, something about the way he's standing, like he's bracing for impact. What aren't you telling me? I ask. His jaw tightens. You're perceptive. John. He pulls out his phone, taps something, then hands it to me. It's a news article from 2 weeks ago, Korean tabloid gossip. Hanseong Air spotted with mystery woman. Is Minjai out, new love in? There's a blurry photo of John at what looks like a business dinner, a woman's hand visible on his arm. The article speculates wildly about his relationship status, mentions Minjai multiple times, suggests he might be reconciling with his ex. That woman was a business associate, John says. The dinner was completely professional, but the media doesn't care about facts when speculation sells better. I scroll through the article, my stomach sinking. There are references to his playboy reputation, mentions of other women he's been linked to over the years, questions about whether he's finally ready to settle down. This is your life, I say slowly, handing back the phone. Photographers, speculation, people analyzing every woman you're seen with. Yes. And you want to bring me into this? I gesture between us. A black woman with no connections, no family name, who works in marketing and lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in Mapo. Yes, he says firmly. Absolutely yes. John, be realistic. Your family. My family doesn't control my life anymore. My father's gone, and I'm 34 years old. I make my own choices now. But the company will survive. It always does. He takes my hands, and this time I let him. Jen, I'm not naive. I know this won't be easy. There will be articles, probably cruel ones. My grandmother will have opinions. The board members will whisper. That's not exactly selling it, I say weakly. But here's what else I know. His thumbs trace circles on my palms. That night at the jazz club, I felt more alive than I have in years. When I'm with you, I'm not performing or managing expectations or being the heir to anything. I'm just me. You barely know me. Then let me learn. He pulls me closer. Stay tonight, tomorrow, next week. Give me a chance to prove this is real. My heart is hammering. Every rational cell in my body is screaming to run, to protect myself, to not fall for a man whose life is so far removed from mine, we might as well be from different planets. But then I remember the way he looked at me in that garden. The vulnerability in his voice when he talked about his father's watch. The fact that he didn't have to tell me about Minjai. He could have hidden that photo, could have lied. One condition, I hear myself say. Anything. Complete honesty. No more surprises, no more revelations. If we're doing this, whatever this is, I need to know what I'm walking into. Relief floods his features. Deal, what do you want to know? Everything. We talk until 2 a.m. He tells me about growing up in the Hanseong family, the pressure, the expectations, the way his father groomed him from childhood to take over the empire. About his mother's death when he was 16, how it broke something in his father that never quite healed. About the loneliness of being surrounded by people who see you as a commodity rather than a person. I tell him about growing up in Atlanta, about my family's initial resistance to my move to Seoul, about the ex-boyfriend who told me I was dreaming too big when I mentioned wanting to start my own business, about the isolation of being a Black woman in Korea, navigating a culture that's fascinated by and dismissive of Blackness in equal measure. Do you ever regret it, he asks, moving here? Sometimes, especially on hard days when I feel invisible or fetishized or just tired. I pause. But then I remember who I was in Atlanta, playing it safe, making myself smaller to fit other people's expectations. Here, at least I'm choosing my own discomfort. He looks at me like I've said something profound. I understand that more than you know. We're on his couch now, my legs tucked under me, his arm around my shoulders. The physical distance from earlier has dissolved, replaced by an intimacy that feels earned rather than rushed. Can I ask you something? I say. Anything. That night at the jazz club, was it really random, or did you know who I was? He's quiet for a moment. It was random. I go to that club sometimes when I need to escape. You were there with your friend, laughing at something on your phone. You were wearing that blue dress, and when you looked up and saw me watching, you didn't look away. You just smiled, like you weren't intimidated or impressed, just interested. I was very interested, I admit. His arm tightens around me. When you agreed to leave with me, I almost told you who I was. But then I thought about how the night would change, how you'd treat me differently, how we'd lose that organic connection. So I convinced myself I'd tell you in the morning. But you left before I woke up. I panicked. He laughs self-deprecatingly. Spent 3 hours in my car outside the hotel, trying to decide if I should go back up or leave the watch and hope you'd find me. Obviously, I chose option 2. Why? Because I wanted to know if what we had was real enough that you'd seek me out, that you'd be curious enough, interested enough, to track me down despite having every reason to just move on. I pull back to look at him. That's manipulative. It is, he agrees, but I needed to know, and you came. I almost didn't. But you did. He cups my face, and the tenderness in his touch makes my chest ache. You're here, Jen. Despite everything you learned tonight, despite the complications and the photos and the reality of what being with me means, you're still here. I'm an idiot, I whisper. You're brave. He kisses me softly. And I'm going to spend every day proving you made the right choice. The kiss deepens, and suddenly we're not talking anymore. His hands slide into my hair, my fingers find the hem of his shirt, and the chemistry that brought us together in the first place ignites like it never left. Bedroom, he murmurs against my lips. Thought you'd never ask. This time is different from our first night. Slower, more intentional. He undresses me like he's unwrapping something precious, kissing every inch of skin he reveals. When he finally lays me on his bed, the look in his eyes makes me feel like the most beautiful woman in the world. Tell me what you want, he says, voice rough. You, I breathe, all of you. What follows is intense, intimate, the kind of connection that transcends physical pleasure. When we finally collapse together, breathless and tangled in Egyptian cotton sheets, I feel fundamentally changed. "Stay," he whispers, pulling me against his chest. "Not just tonight, stay." I should say no, should maintain some independence, some self-preservation. Instead, I press a kiss to his racing heart and whisper, "Okay." I wake to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and the smell of coffee. For a moment, I'm disoriented. This isn't my apartment. This isn't my bed. Then memory floods back. John, the penthouse, everything we talked about and did and promised. I find him in the kitchen, wearing pajama pants and nothing else, making breakfast. "Morning," he says, smiling when he sees me in his t-shirt. "Coffee." "Please." He pours me a cup, and the domesticity of the moment is almost overwhelming. 24 hours ago, I was debating whether to even return his watch. Now I'm standing in his kitchen, wearing his clothes, contemplating a future that seems impossible and inevitable in equal measure. My phone buzzes from somewhere in the living room, then buzzes again, and again. "That's been going off for about 10 minutes, John says, his expression shifting to concern. I find my purse, pull out my phone, and my stomach drops. 17 missed calls from Kira, multiple texts. JN call Emmy. Emergency. Where are you? Call me right now. And then, the one that makes my blood run cold. Photo attachment. Don't freak out, but you need to see this. I open the image with shaking hands. It's a tabloid article from this morning. Korean and English versions side by side. Hanseong Air's secret affair. Mystery woman identified. There are photos of me entering Platinum Tower last night, close-ups of my face, and somehow, impossibly, they have my name, my job title, even my apartment building. The article is brutal. It questions John's judgment, speculates about my intentions, uses words like gold digger and social climber. There are comparisons to Minjai, suggestions that I'm not suitable for someone of John's status. But the worst part is the final paragraph. Sources close to the Hanseong family suggest this relationship is already causing tension, with senior board members questioning whether the young heir is fit to take over the company if he continues to make such questionable personal choices. An emergency board meeting has been called for Monday morning. I look up at John, who's reading over my shoulder, his expression hardening with each word. "This is what I meant," I say quietly. "This is what being with you means." "I'll fix this," he says immediately. "I'll release a statement, John," I cut him off. "They know where I live, where I work, everything. I'll hire security for you, round-the-clock protection until this blows over." "And if it doesn't blow over," my voice cracks, "if this is just the beginning." He pulls me into his arms, and I let him, even though part of me knows I should be stronger, should be pulling away. "I won't let them hurt you," he promises into my hair. But we both know that's not a promise he can keep. My phone rings. It's a number I don't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answer. "Miss Jennifer Carter," a woman's voice, professional and cold. "Yes." "My name is Park Mi-sun. I'm calling on behalf of the Hanseong family. We'd like to invite you to brunch tomorrow at the family estate. Just you and Mrs. Hanseong, John's grandmother." My eyes meet John's. He's shaking his head furiously, mouthing, "Don't go." "Why?" I ask. There's a pause. Then, "Mrs. Hanseong would like to discuss your relationship with her grandson, privately." It's not a request, it's a summons. "I'll be there," I hear myself say. John takes the phone from me as I hang up, his expression furious. "Absolutely not. You're not going anywhere near my grandmother without me." "I have to," I say, surprisingly calm. "If we're doing this, if this is real, I need to face them, all of them." "Jen." "Besides," I interrupt, attempting a smile that probably looks as shaky as I feel, "how bad can one brunch be?"